What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Unparalleled Universe for another action figure review, and today we're taking a look at the Mezco 112 Collective New York Comic Con exclusive Wolverine 5 Ronin figure. And this figure was pretty interesting. They revealed it on one of their live Twitch feeds, and a lot of people were kind of annoyed by the way they did that, and then a lot of people complained about this figure, said a lot of bad stuff about it. A lot of people were claiming they were tired of Wolverines or whatever, but I was really excited when I saw this guy. I thought it was a really interesting take and a really cool approach from Mezco to do something kind of outside of the box. So I was really excited about this guy. Wasn't able to get it from anybody at New York Comic Con or anything, just pre-ordered off the website, and I just recently received it, so for that reason the review was kind of delayed. But anyways, let's get right into it. I'm a big fan of the boxes that Mezco uses for their exclusive figures, and this one looks awesome. You have some nice trees or branches in the background with some little, like, you know, blossoms on there. I think that's what those kind of flowers are called, but it looks really nice. And then you have the claws poking through the front here, and then you have the Mezco exclusive sticker on the side. You have 5 Ronin at the bottom, Marvel over here, 112 Collective over here. On the side of the box, you have like a Wolverine type of logo. Then it says Wolverine 5 Ronin, Mezco 112 Collective. On the back, you get some really interesting looking artwork. I love the way that looks. That is awesome. And it seems like they always put some really cool artwork on the exclusive figures, so I like that they do that. Of course, it's collector friendly, and I'm a big fan of this packaging, so it's pretty awesome. So here's Logan, and right out of the box, I love this thing. I think that Mezco did something really interesting here, and choosing to do this style of Wolverine with this type of outfit, I think it really worked to Mezco's benefit, because you know, a lot of times some of these figures, the clothing could look kind of baggy because they're so small, and it just doesn't fit quite right. But here it's supposed to look baggy and loose, so it really works, and it just looks awesome. I love the way it looks. Check that out. You have these little X-Men logos on his outfit there. You have the belt that it doesn't, I mean, it's really secure. I've been moving this figure around a lot, and this thing hasn't really felt like it was going to shift or move out of place. I believe that this is all sewed together. I haven't really tried to pull it out. I didn't really want to, but it's all stayed together. So I think I'm pretty sure that it's sewn together right there in the center underneath the belt. I'm not really going to try to take it apart and see, but it all stays together like it's supposed to. So that's really nice. I love the way the pants look, and like all the creases are really clean. Everything looks great. Check it out. And obviously the pants don't hinder the articulation at all, so that is awesome. One thing I thought was kind of interesting was on the socks, there's no sculpted detail to separate the sock from the leg. It's just painted, and that's kind of rare for Mezco, but it is what it is. You know, it's not a big deal. It's covered anyways. But yeah, check it out. This figure is crazy. I love the way it looks. And one thing that kind of stood out to me right away was how the hair effect, I guess you could call it, looks. It looks a little bit dark, especially when you compare it to the neck. The colors are just so different. So I mean, it kind of distracted me at first, but it's really not a big deal. It still looks fine, and it does definitely emulate hair. So that's okay for Wolverine. Obviously, on the arms he has some hair going on too, and it's actually sculpted. You could kind of feel the hair, so that's pretty awesome. And yeah, let's just take a minute here to appreciate this guy, because man, it's really nice and clean. Look at all the stitching there. It looks really good. On the back you have it tied up here. All that looks really nice. And you have the sandals. These things are they look cool. I love them, but they do make the figure kind of hard to stand up, so you have to be careful with that. Maybe if this one here was a little forward, it'd be a little bit better, but as is, it looks really cool. It doesn't function as good as it should. It's not like he's falling all over the place all the time, but you know, you just got to be aware that he might tip over a little bit. And like I mentioned before, I love the X logo on there. And even though this is Wolverine Ronin, there is a Marvel comic called Marvel 5 Ronin or something like that. And I was checking it out when this figure was announced, and I went and read the Wolverine one. And this isn't necessarily accurate to that comic book, as far as I could tell. I mean, it captures the general spirit of it, but there's a lot of things, a lot of liberties that Mezco took here, which is fine. They do that all the time, and it's not necessarily comic book accurate. But I don't know if that's what they were going for, or if they were just doing their own kind of thing here. But let's take a look at the scarf real quick, because I have it out here, and the scarf is really nice. It has one bendy wire on the top of it. It doesn't have one at the bottom. But it is very cool. You could wrap it around Wolverine's face. You could kind of have it like blowing in the wind or something. And you could do all kinds of different cool things with it. And that's just a really cool effect. And I do like this effect a lot, but I've kind of had Wolverine just hanging out without it, and I've liked him a lot like that. So, but there's a lot of cool things you could do with this thing. One very small gripe I have is that when his arms are facing forward and you could see into the inside of the sleeves, you could see where the pieces of cloth were stitched together, and it kind of bunches up on the inside, and it looks a little bit messy. But you know, that's a very small, tiny gripe that I have. It's almost not worth mentioning, but it did catch my eye, so I did want to point it out. For the accessories, we have a bunch of the usual suspects, including a bunch of different sets of hands, starting off with a pair of fists, and then he has a pair of gripping hands that could be used to hold on to the 2 katanas that he comes with. And then he has a set of clawed hands, and the clawed hands are really nice. Mezco does a really great job with Wolverine Claws, but with this version of Wolverine, I really think they should have went with bone claws. In the comic book, the character doesn't have claws. He has this weird like mechanism on his hand that kind of makes it seem like he has claws, and they like pop out when he needs them. I get it if they didn't want to do that, because then, you know, the sleeves would have to be longer and cover all that up or whatever. But if they weren't gonna do that, I wish they would have went with bone claws. It would have been something different than we've seen on other Mezco Wolverine figures, but you know, not a big deal. The metal claws are very nice, so it's okay. And last but not least, he comes with one right open hand. He does come with 2 different heads. The first one is sculpted really nice. It has the hair tied back in the back. You've got the sideburns sculpted really nice. Everything looks really good on this face. I do love the facial expression. It looks very focused, and it's very fitting for this outfit. And the second head sculpt is a more traditional Wolverine looking head sculpt, and specifically with the hair, it has like the 2 points on the back here. He really has a funny looking expression there. I don't know why Mezco really can't get like you know, angry, crazy, expressive Wolverine faces right. They all kind of look, yeah, they don't look bad, but they definitely could look better, especially like in the mouth area. Check that out. That kind of looks a little funky. It's not horrible, but it could be better. And he does have 2 sheaths for his katanas that could fit right into the belt. And I think the best way to do it is to have them in between the 2 layers on the belt. I think that's the best way to go. I tried to put it all the way under the belt, and it became really tight, and it was kind of hard to shift around. So having them in between works out really good. And the katanas look very nice. There are 2 different sizes. There's a short one and a long one. Let's take a look at these here. And they both do look really cool, and they do slide into the sheaths very easy, but be careful not to put them into the wrong direction, because then they don't go in easy. You don't want to force it and then scratch the paint on the sword or break the sheath. But yeah, they do look cool. Check out the katanas. They look very, very nice. They have like a metallic look on the blade, and here's the shorter one, so you could see the comparison between the 2 and see the difference in the sizes. And yeah, one is much longer. And then of course you've got the short one. And you know, I really wish I knew more about this culture here, because I feel like the shorter one has a specific purpose, but I'm not sure what it is. I'm gonna have to check that out. If anybody knows, let me know in the comments. And then of course you have the Mezco stand, and I like the fact that most of the stand is covered by this design, so it's less susceptible to scratches, so that's very, very nice. And of course these things are always cool. My only complaint is they're a little big, but you have the peg that you could stand the figure on, and actually I don't even think that works with Wolverine because of his sandals, but you know, whatever. You could pop that out, stick the arm on there, and you could pose him there if you'd like. I probably won't get too much use out of the stand, but I do think it looks cool. So, and now for a couple of quick size comparisons. Here he is next to the SH Figure Arts Ant-Man and the Wasp Ant-Man and the Marvel Legends Gameverse Spider-Man. And then now, of course, here we have the Marvel Legends Bucky Cap and Marvel Legends Pizza Spider-Man. And then here he is with the Mezco Michael Myers and the NECA Caesar. And then now here he is with the SH Figure Arts Ninja Batman and the Bandai Movie Realization Spider-Man. And now we have the current Mezco Wolverine squad, and man, it is so cool to have all of these 5 figures together. It's really awesome that Mezco's given us so many different versions of Wolverine. I know some people kind of get upset by getting the same character over and over, but honestly, when it comes to Mezco, I'm okay with that, because it's never like they're going to give us a whole universe of figures. I know that'd be crazy, but imagine how expensive and wild it'd be to have like as many Mezco figures as we have like Marvel Legends figures. You know, I like Marvel Legends for building the universe and stuff like that, but for Mezco, I just like the, you know, the individual random takes that they do on characters. So I'm okay with them doing a bunch of Wolverine figures, and I'm really looking forward to the upcoming Logan figure that they have coming out, so I could add them to my Wolverine squad here. All these figures are awesome right here. There's something I love about every one of these, and as far as which one is my favorite, it's really tough because I love the Old Man Logan figure, and it's really close with this new Ronin Wolverine figure. That one is just so unique. It's just so amazing. But you know, I love that Old Man Logan, so I don't know. Right now, it's really tough to tell which one is my favorite. I love the other three, but they're more comic book ish, you know, so the suits don't necessarily translate as good as they do with the Ronin and the Old Man Logan figure, but I do love those figures too. And the heads are interchangeable. You can put the Ronin head onto the other bodies, and you can put the other bodies' heads onto the Ronin Wolverine, but it doesn't necessarily make sense. I guess that Ronin head kind of works as an unmasked Logan, but the hairstyle kind of throws that off. And the Ronin heads do fit on the Old Man Logan body, but they sit kind of low. I guess that's okay because it kind of makes Wolverine look a little stumpy. And I do think that the Old Man Logan head looks kind of cool on the Ronin body, and that kind of makes sense. That kind of works, you know. So I'm really excited to have all 5 of these figures, and let me know which one you think is the best out of the 5 so far. So the articulation is another thing that really benefits from having the loose clothing, because none of the cloth interferes with the articulation or the ability to pose this figure at all. So I'm really happy about that. But let's get into it here. His head is able to move side to side. He has the type of Mezco neck joint that has movement where the head and the neck meet and where the neck and the torso meet. So you're able to get a lot of nice movement. You could get his head and neck rotating around. You could get it to tilt. And of course you could get it to look up to about there. You could get it down to about right there. And then he has the mid-torso joint and the waist joint. And on Mezco figures, they work together to get them to go side to side. You could get it to crunch to about there. That's pretty good. Check it out there. It's a pretty decent amount. You could get them to move back to about there. And see, none of the outfit is in the way at all. So that is super cool. And of course you get some like rotation going on there using both of those. And then for his arms, he has the shoulder joints. It doesn't seem like there is the, oh yeah, you could kind of see the butterfly joint. Doesn't work too good, but I mean, it's okay. Check it out. You get a little bit of movement there on the butterfly joint. And of course you could bring his arm up to about there. And I guess that's the only place where it kind of hinders it. You can't get it further than that. It might be a little hard to get him into some katana swinging poses, but I think you could accomplish what you'd like to with what you're able to do there. But I guess that'd be the only spot where it's hindered, and it's not even that much really. And then you could get it to go back to about there. And then you're able to bring them out to the side. You have the upper bicep swivel, double jointed elbows. They get really nice range. And then you have a hinge at the wrist, a swivel at the wrist. You could rotate the ball joint around to get his hand to go like that. You could do all kinds of stuff there, so that's good. And then for his legs, you could get him to do the splits. Check that out there. Pretty awesome. You can get them to go back only to about there. That's okay, you don't really need to get his legs back, but you could get him all the way forward, and that's pretty awesome. And then you have the upper thigh swivel, double jointed knee, oops, there we go, double jointed knee. And then this Wolverine figure has really nice ankles. Check that out. You could get them to move all over the place. You could get them pointing forward that much, point them up that much, and swivel around. So yeah, this is probably one of the most articulated Mezco figures, or I guess, you know, it has the same body as previous Wolverine figures, but less going on, so it's not hindered by weird pleathery plastic stuff or whatever. So it's really cool to see how far you could push the articulation limits on this guy. And yeah, I'm very happy with all the articulation on him. You could get him into some really cool poses. So overall, it's probably obvious at this point, but I really love this figure. I think that Mezco did something really interesting and unique, and I'm really happy that they went out of the box with it, but it's still something that makes sense with the character. A bunch of different companies have done different Wolverine figures. Marvel Legends has been doing Wolverine figures since the beginning. Even Mezco has 4 Wolverine figures before this one, so it's really cool that they thought about something different that they could do and put it out there. It's a really interesting looking figure, and I think that they did a good job at capturing all the different elements to this outfit and like the overall look of you know, the Ronin warrior. So, and that works with Wolverine too. It's not necessarily comic book accurate to the Marvel 5 Ronin comic book, but that's okay because I doubt that that comic has a huge following. No disrespect to anybody out there that likes that comic. I checked it out, it was pretty cool, but I don't imagine that there's like a huge cult following behind it or anything that you know, I'm sure there's not a lot of people that are going to pop out of the woods saying that this thing's inaccurate, so it sucks. But I think it captures the spirit of the whole idea good. It's not perfect. There's a couple minor flaws. Like I'd say just the stitching on the inside of the sleeves is really the only flaw. And I guess the extra head isn't amazing, but aside from that, all 10s. I love this thing. I'm so happy to have it, and it's definitely going to be one of my favorite figures to come out this year, so I'm very excited about it. But anyways, thank you very much for watching. If you want to support the channel, please be sure to maybe check out a shirt. I have some for sale. I'll leave a link in the description below so you can check that out if you'd like. But if you don't want to do that, it's all good. I really appreciate you checking out the video. I do hope that you enjoyed it. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff, and thank you very much. Peace.